You're tuned into News Across the Galaxy, where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
All right. If everything worked right, you should be seeing Edgar and Eddie on your screen. Sorry if I don't sound uh, as good as I usually do, but I was having technical difficulties aside from us having to be late because of other prior engagements. There was also the technical difficulty side. But here we are. Here we are. Uh,
Yes.
Edgar, how you doing, my
Yes.
man?
I'm all right, man. My voice is a little gone. Um, I've had a very interesting weekend. I took my son to the game, and I remember as my wife and I were driving to the stadium, I just reminded her, hey, every time I bring my son to the game, the Galaxy always wins, and she's like, well, we're definitely gonna win this time, and I'm like, I don't know. We've tried everything. Like we had Eli, douse himself in oil. I shaved my head. I mean, it kind of grew back already a little. Um, Eddie like sacrificed a goat. Well, we haven't mentioned that though.
Ooh,
He did it in his neighborhood. Shh, sorry,
I,
Eddie.
I, I,
Um,
I I didn't want people to know that, but go ahead.
oh yeah, sorry about that. We're still trying to get the bloodstains out of the pavement. Um, yeah, that was pretty messy. But yeah, it finally happened. It finally happened, and it happened in a game where like everybody was just kind of like, yeah, we're here for the good times. And the game of secondary, right? Pretty much.
Again, technical difficulties, but here we are. No, yeah, it's what a strange feeling, right? It is after 16 games, after countless episodes of NAG this year. Now we have one where we talk about a win, right? And it's kind of a what's the proper word to use here? I'm not sure what's the proper word to use here, but it's not. I don't want to get too excited about it, right? Because there's still the reality of it's been 16 games, this season without a win. But you know, Saturday nights are always fun at the digs. Wish there was more of those. I know this season we got hit with a lot of Sunday games for whatever reason and early games and weird ass schedules. But you know, uh, obviously happy to be back at the digs on a Saturday night. Edgar, there's a few things we're going to talk about before we get to this game. Let me just pull something up real quick here. I definitely have to mention this because if you know me, hold on one second here. Edgar, you can like buy me some time here.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry about that. No, it was a nice afternoon. I said a lot of people at this point have come to accept how bad the season has been. Everybody's been questioning, you know, if they're ever gonna win a match because in the midweek show we had our good buddy Alex Napoles from RSL show talking about um, this matchup, and he kept telling us like Real Salt Lake is in a really bad spot right now. We discussed how they've only won one game since they beat the Galaxy way back in early April. So that's only one match that they won in their last nine. And that's pretty bad, right? But we've been hearing this from other teams week in, week out. They come in to play against the Galaxy and they're like, oh, we're going through a rough spot. You guys should win this match. And then some way, somehow, Galaxy ends up losing. So at this point, we're like, it's just another loss. RSL is going to find a way to win. But that didn't happen Spears because before the match, I know a good friend Eli Lesser. He was hosting like a tailgate with a lot of food. A lot of people showed up. He had uh, he had all kinds of food. He had beer, and of course there was our good buddies from Comets at Sea. They always have their nice little tailgate. South Central G's, they were out there as well. Uh, Inland Empire, fanatics, of course, and of course, the supporters. ACB, Lars, Galaxians, Outlaws, and everybody else, right, was just out there having a good time, enjoying this nice weather. But
Yeah.
there were still
Did you
games that we played, right?
did you make it to any of those? I do have to shout out my our good friend David Godino. I was at his baby shower before the game, so I couldn't make it. Shout out to David. We're gonna have a new Galaxy fan coming into this earth, sooner, later on this year. So congrats to them. But did you get to enjoy any of the festivities? Did you go to Eli's barbecue? And it was a barbecue, right?
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, we did not get to the stadium on time for that. But we did make it in time, just in time to get some food from the lovely people at Lars and, of course, some comments at sea. Um, so that was awesome. And it's always nice to get to the stadium and you run into these wonderful people and somebody, welcomes you with a warm hug and a cold beer, which
Okay.
is always nice in my case, right? Um, and so that was really nice, and everybody obviously was really happy to see my wife and my son, right? And especially my son because he's 5, he's a little dude, and so everybody was like, "Oh my god, what a cute little guy!" um, so I kept telling people, "Well, I had to bring him. Galaxy has never lost whenever he shows up to a match. Um, let's see what happens, right?" And everybody's like, well, this has to be it then, because we tried everything else. Let's see what happens.
No, you're absolutely right. I remember you telling us that every time you bring them, uh, they don't lose, right? And I guess everyone has the same question that I do. Why the hell don't you bring them to every game?
Yeah, there's like a push to make him a season ticket holder for the next year.
Seriously. So, whenever I get an opportunity to bring it up, I've got to, Edgar. I've got to do this. Once a G, always a G, right?
Always. Except, well, there's one case, but yeah.
Congrats
Oh my god.
to
I saw
and,
that.
and Chicken Nuggy, huh? The
Oh
journey
my god.
continues.
The journey continues, dude. He's like that guy Santi from the Go movie, right?
Oh my goodness, no, it's kind of funny because I mean not kind of funny. It trips me out, right? Because a lot of my family are Chivistas, and if you're not familiar with Chivas, uh they're like a very proud Mexican team who likes to only have uh, Mexican players. Right now, it's kind of I, to my understanding, it was like Mexican born, and
Yeah.
I don't know what it was before, but now it's like we have three. Not we, sorry, they have three American born players, and two of them are Galaxy tied, which is hilarious. So, yeah, well, congrats to El Chicken Nugget. Hey, he's getting that bag. He's getting paid. Now he gets to have extra chicken eggs. I don't know. I just got to every time opportunity I get to bring up Efra, I gotta do it.
You know what's funny, bro? We were talking about chicken nuggets, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh, I wonder. We always talk about we always talk about WWE and how much we like Dom Mysterio, and he's all about the chicken nuggets. We have the original chicken nuggets right here, man.
Yeah. So what you're saying is we should take credit for
Heck yeah. I
it.
mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, for Father's Day, his wife presents him with like a box full of chicken nuggets. Enjoy, dear,
Oh my god, no,
and then she
his
takes them from him.
yeah, exactly. I was about to make some sort of joke because if you've seen the videos, yeah, if you know. So not Galaxy related, but MLS related. In not so happy news, if you're an MLS head like myself and Edgar, you were all Canadian today, and
Oh,
it did not go too well for our friends in Vancouver. Oh my god, dude! What a Champions League weekend, right?
yeah. We
Who the
saw
hell?
two blowouts, and that's so rare. And in a final like this,
Mhm.
um, I think I don't know which one is more surprising to me. PSG blowing out Inter, or the fact that Vancouver has been almost flawless this entire year, and in one of the most important, actually the most important match probably in the history of this club, they fall apart in such devastating fashion.
I would
Um,
probably say. the PSG one just because it's a bigger stage. The gap, talent gap, it's supposed to be way more narrow, and it's a neutral ground, and in this case, Vancouver, they weren't playing in front of a bunch of friendly Canadians, and there's still that argument uh, of which league is better, and then I mean it's still I'm a big MLSer, and it's but most of the people feel like it's still Mexico's still dominating as far as the club level goes. So, in my opinion, the PSG one uh, was more shocking. Also, people get a lot more excited about the UEFA Champions League. And to be honest, if you're a fan of football and you didn't have a dog in this fight and you didn't want rooting for for either team, you kind of got screwed. You didn't get a great final. You got a blowout. In my opinion, that's not a great final. So yeah, if you ask me, it's definitely going to be the PSG one. Is going to be more of a shocker than the Vancouver Cruz Azul.
Yeah, and not only that, not only the hierarchy, I guess the pedigree. I'm sorry, I meant to say the pedigree of the football from UEFA compared to Concacaf, right? As much as we love our clubs, as much as we want our conference to be held in higher regard, they go and do things to shoot themselves in the foot and make themselves look bad, even with with our clubs. Like I said, we have a good friend Nathan Derrick. He covers the Vancouver Whitecaps, and he's been saying that CONCACAF has been treating the Canadian media pretty badly throughout this tournament. He said that that they got muted whenever they were doing press conferences, and he said we're used to it. He goes, we got no questions again. He goes, they wanted to ask questions during the press conference. He goes, Monterrey, Pumas, and now Cruz Azul. Um, he was the only reason we ever ended up getting any questions answered during the Monterrey game was because there was a staffer there from Vancouver who got on his phone and did an impromptu conference after the official one. He goes, but for this final against Cruz Azul, they were doing the Zoom press conference with CONCACAF, and the Canadian media was muted for the first half. And he said, we're hardly surprised. He goes, anymore. He goes, the way that they disrespected Vancouver Whitecaps throughout the entire tournament.
That kind of sucks.
So
They took advantage of their kindness.
well, I mean, it's messed up because you think CONCACAF, especially, as we're leaning really heavily into the 21st century, you think they want to try to elevate the profile of this conference, and they do this bush league things that you only hear about like from like small nations, from Central and America and the Caribbean, that they do these stupid little things to, I don't know, it's just really silly to me that they would do this disrespect, but then again, you look at the performance Vancouver had, and it's like, hey, what kind of questions do you guys have? You got blown out. I'm sorry,
they
and I
were
feel
so
bad for them.
they were probably surprised that there was questions. I'm like, oh, people actually want to ask questions.
Yeah, yeah, I feel bad. I have a friend who he's a big Euro snob, and he was asking me about the Concacaf Champions Cup, and he's like, I guess half of MLS probably doesn't want Vancouver to win, and the other half do, right? And I'm like, no, actually, I was like, Vancouver's that one of those rare teams in MLS where everybody's like pulling for them. Even some of the Canadian teams, everybody's like supporting them. Unless you are specifically a Cruz Azul fan or you're a big Liga MX fan and you want Liga MX to end up on top, everybody else is pulling for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and to see them lose like that was very disappointing because I remember there's been times, right, when MLS teams get to that stage, that final stage, and even if it's a team that you don't necessarily like, you pull for them to
Yeah,
win. There is one exception where I'm like,
yeah,
nah, fuck that.
yeah.
But every other time, like I remember watching RSL get to the final and they lost to I
Dude,
think it was Morelia.
they wanted to crucify you and me and I think Bryant too for rooting for Seattle.
Yeah, no, no. I feel like Seattle's one of those teams like they worked their asses off to get there, and we saw how much it cost them once they finally did win. But they earned it. They earned that, that number one patch, and I was kind of hoping Vancouver would do it. I remember when Montreal got to the final. I was kind of hoping that they would pull something off because it was against Do America, a team that sitting on riches. I was like, you guys can afford to lose one more Champions Cup. You guys have won so many, and Montreal lost. That was a nail biter. There was the one where TFC lost to Guadalajara on penalties. Oh, that was a hard one to watch too. But yeah, at least this wasn't a blowout. I mean, at least this one was a blowout, so you knew what the result was. Like as the tickets were winding down, and oh well, let's see what happens next year.
Yeah, hopefully MLS is a little more competitive to the very end next year. Uh, but moving on, we can
I
get
do
into
have my
the
Whitecaps cup right here in their honor. So
damn. It's filled with the fans' tears. That's cold, Edgar.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so ready to get into the game, Edgar?
Do we have to wait? Wait, we can. This time we actually can. Well, kind of, sort of, but yeah, yeah. Why not? Let's go.
What a strange feeling, right?
Yeah,
So we do have to bring up before we get into the actual game. It is Pride Month of this month, and the Galaxy is doing their part in celebrating Pride Month. Uh, so you know what though? To be quite honest, I like the training tops more in the past. I should have had a picture ready of it
yeah.
but I
I agree.
this one was a little boring.
Yeah, I have to agree. This training top that they put out, it could have been for any other they could have had it for, I don't know, cancer awareness or Women's Month, and just told us that's what it was. It didn't really come off to me as something that would really celebrate, you know, Pride Month or Pride awareness or anything. But I guess they're trying to toe that line between not going, all the way to the point where people are like, "What is that? What are you wearing?" or something that seems kind of corporate, I guess you could say.
Hmm, I guess, but mm, if colors offend you, the rainbow offends you, then I'm sorry. There's bigger problems. All right, so the LA Galaxy took on Real Salt Lake, 13th place Real Salt Lake this Saturday night at Dignity Health Sports Park. And the LA Galaxy came out with the following starting lineup. Very similar to the last lineup against San Jose. Only main difference that will stand out to you is there's no Marco Royce. So you saw Mikovic in goal start again, back to back games. Yamane, we had Zanka and Yoshida at center backs. John Nelson at the other left back position. Sanabria, Cerrillo, and Fagundes taking on the center mid roles. Gabriel Peck outright, Pintel at left, and Nascimento with the back to back start on top. Edgar, any surprises? Anything that stands out to you in this lineup? We had now two consistent lineups that two consistent starters, inconsistent starters get back to back starts. Literally top and bottom, Nascimento and Mikovic getting the starts. Was that a surprise to you? How do you feel about about them getting the starts?
I just think it's funny that Zanka I mean, obviously got the start because Garces is definitely in the doghouse at this
Mm.
point. Um, but wait, Garces is like one yellow card away from a suspension and a fine, so it's something to keep in mind as well. But no real surprises. I just think it's funny that Mitrovic is back in, between the pipes because um, first, I mean, he had a rough start, right? I mean, Galaxy has had a bad season, but he had a pretty rough start at the beginning, and people were saying, hey, "Let's see how he does." Right? There's a lot of people who are very much entrenched in the Novak Mikovic camp, and they were saying, "Let's see what he can do. Make him the starter, the number one, because J Mac has his flaws." But my God, he had such a bad start, and so then people were asking, "Well, we want J Mac back," and then he came back, and he was okay. It wasn't much better. Um, and it just goes to show, right? Goalkeepers aren't that particularly good in general. But over the past month, the team has gone through so many like just harrowing, like difficult losses with John McCarthy as goalkeeper that any change, I guess, was a welcome change, and putting Novak Mikovic in there um, has to be just something different. You gotta use him at some point. You can't just leave him there because I think you and I, Eddie, were we talking about how we see JMac as a possible trading chip,
Ah,
right?
I was
And
I was I was gonna say that before you continue on there. Let's stir the
yeah,
pot, man. I mean, put your tinfoil hats on. It's a possibility that if you really think about it, we're talking about our keepers. They're both mediocre, right? Both. It's give and take. You get very little whichever way you go. But if you had to guess, which one has a higher trade value? The
yeah, has to
the
be
guy,
JMac. He's got
yeah,
the resume.
yeah. All you got to put in front of his name is two-time MLS Cup champ. That's it. So, I
MLS Cup MVP.
yeah, MLS Cup MVP in his first one, which I don't think it's crazy to think that might be he might be on the trading block.
No, it wouldn't be surprising at all. And then obviously you're thinking, well, who would be the backup? Well, JT Marcinkowski, who I had some conversations with our buddy Saz at the right before the San Jose game. We were hanging out um, in the South End watching the Galaxy practice, and he said, "Hey, look at JT. He's right there." He kept saying it's really weird to see him in a non Earthquakes uniform because uh, we loved him so much when he was here. But he mentioned like he had such a horrific injury. He said, "I was there at the game when it happened." He went up, and then when he came down with the ball, he just happened to collide with somebody, and he was like his legs split and it was disgusting. You could hear it, you could see it. He goes, the fact that he's even able to play at this level again is pretty fascinating. He said, but if you can get him up and running 100%, this guy is an amazing goalkeeper. It got me thinking. Uh, once we get a very healthy JT Marcinkowski back, he could be a backup for whoever Galaxy decides to keep, whether it's Mitrovic or John McCarthy. Because at this point, yeah, John McCarthy is the one that we think, okay, you could trade him. He has more tradable value, but maybe Galaxy can be like, hey, look at this guy over here. He's doing well in the middle of this rough season. He had some pretty good starts. Would you like him? And but I don't know. At this point, who knows with this season? Who knows with this team? But as far as going back to what we're saying, the lineup, it was a pleasant surprise to just see Nascimento back in there. And it's something you and I can touch upon later on because we were like, yeah, it's something that had to happen, right?
No, no, yeah, no, definitely. Uh, and it's pretty interesting with the whole goalkeeper thing, right? Like the Galaxy, if it pays out with JT, and we literally got him for like refurbished price, and we get to sell him for a brand new price would be great, but or just a serviceable backup. As far as me in the starting lineup, no real surprises. I think it's kind of what we got, right? With the exception of Garces, but we've all been seeing him this in his regression this year. So that's not really a surprise. The only real big surprise is because it's taken so long is the Nascimento start, which is a pleasant surprise, and we could start getting into the game now. Uh, and oh, actually, I should ask you because I didn't get a chance to check to watch the midweek show, and I don't know.
Oh,
Go ahead.
before you continue, I just remember something that made me laugh. So I was there Wednesday, right, and I was there actually Saturday, right. Um, and something that made me chuckle was that both times Zanka got introduced, the crowd booed him. You know how they're like, it's starting, yeah, it's number so and so, and then they say his first name, and then the crowd just boo. It's like, really? Damn, you had it
Yeah,
rough, man.
he
But
Edgar.
yes,
I didn't even get to talk about the other game because
Oh, the
it's
Real Salt Lake game. I
yeah,
mean the San Jose
the
game.
San Jose game. It's funny, but well, did you guys talk about it in the midweek?
Yeah, yeah. We know we talked about it
Okay,
briefly.
go back
So
and watch that one. I'll add things and comments from the San Jose game into this game, but I want to touch on the Zonka thing too. I don't know if I talked to you about it. I know I've talked to other people, but excuse me. Am I tripping saying that? Thinking that Zonka did not do too bad against San Jose, and like I don't really understand the hatred towards him. Like this,
no. He's messed up in the past though. He's
no, no,
done
in
some
the
really
past
bad.
I know, but I feel like it like all of a sudden just like elevated like the hate for him after the San Jose game.
I think his last two matches he's been all right because he hasn't. It's one of those things, right? Where if you're a defender and somebody points something out that you did during a match, then usually it's something wrong. We haven't had any reason to like really point at him and say, "Oh, he really messed up." It's just okay. He did his job. He was quiet. He did his job. Um, Same as Maya Yoshida in this last match, just quietly did his job. But as far as Zonka is concerned, these last two matches, she's been all right. Nothing really crazy to talk about. I mean, usually he's like a tronco. He's just standing there watching things happen around him. But uh, then again, the last two teams we played have been pretty rough.
Yeah, yeah, and that's actually an important point too, and we could talk about it as we get into the game. But you saw the lineup now, Edgar. You did your midweek preview. You had an idea what Salt Lake was coming in with. How were you feeling going into the game? What was your prediction? What do you think? You think this was the one?
No, obviously no. I'm with Josh at this point, right? This is because this is me heading into this game. I'm with Josh because if you listen to Josh, they ask him, "Hey, Josh, you think Galaxy can win this game?" He's like, "Nope. Until they win a game, I can't predict the win." Now, I was trying to be really positive for the longest time. I'm kind of a realist, but I'm trying to be as positive as I can with what I see because, like everybody, we've seen them. They don't they don't play bad. They just don't play good enough, and so that's the frustrating part. But I got to the point where I'm like, yeah, no, these guys absolutely they suck. They're terrible. Um, because so many times they face up against opponents that are coming in bad shape, and Galaxy some way somehow hands them a victory on a silver platter. We saw it against Kansas City. We saw it against Orlando earlier in the season. Um, it's just disappointment after disappointment. So at this point, I have no expectations at all. And the best I could say was a 2-2 draw. I said, a 2-2 draw. I think that the Galaxy, yeah, RSL is doing bad, but they were doing pretty bad when we played them the first time and they dismantled the Galaxy. But the one thing that Alex said was everything revolves around Luna, Diego Luna, and if you manage to corral him or limit the amount of damage that he can do, then you have a very good chance of beating this RSL team. Which, just a reminder, coming into this match, they had only won one match since that time they beat Galaxy way back in early April. That means that they've only won one match out of the last nine, and they've had six winless. So their season has completely gone sideways. Um, and Alex Napoles, he was like, "I think you guys have a good shot of winning this one." I'm like, "Don't tempt me, Frodo. I think that this is not going to be a win. It's going to be a 2-2 draw." But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, "Nah, they got to win, man. They got to win. It's about time. If they can't win this one, then I don't know when they're going to win again."
Well, Edgar, if there was any doubt in your mind that this could be it, that doubt was almost confirmed. It took only a couple minutes when we saw Galaxy's shaky defense in down the middle. Right, that seems to be like the common theme with this team and this defense this year. And man, if it wasn't for Mikovic, this conversation could have gone completely a different way. And I'm gonna get a little bit ahead of myself just because it's been a topic in a uh, an MLS rap and all that. It's despite the win, there was still some questionable defense and some questions to be asked about this Galaxy team.
No, yeah, I kept when I got home, I listened to I watched the replay and some of the highlights, and the one thing I kept hearing was there's a lot of gaps in the Galaxy defense. Um, and yeah, there's been all kinds of things wrong with the Galaxy team in general. There's been like a visible gap between the midfield and the defense, and a disconnect between the midfield and the offense. And as far as the gaps in the defense, it's just lack of communication. I think lack of familiarity. And so sometimes you have a player that goes down the middle, and it's like, who's covering this guy? Well, I'm covering this guy over here. And then before you know it, this guy is already ramming the ball down the middle, and your goalkeeper has to come up with a fantastic save to keep the game still, scoreless. But in this case, we've seen it happen so many times this season, and the thing that's disappointing is that it starts to become commonplace where you're like, oh man, is this happening again? Oh well, we've seen it happen so many times that we almost expect it to happen, which shouldn't be the case. And I know Galaxy and MLS doesn't really invest in strong defenders, but it's been a while since we've had a pretty solid defense on this team. Would you agree, Eddie?
Ab- Absolutely, man. Absolutely, and it's just if I don't know with defense, it's funny because it's we've had some interesting names, some interesting characters come through. Right, I can say some names right now, and it's just gonna rub people the wrong way. Shelvick, Gulubali, you know, who else? I'm trying to think has been our defense. We've even had bad luck.
Ceci
Sabaleta's still there.
Sabaleta.
We've even had bad luck with the one bright spot we had for a little bit. Oh man, I'm blanking out of his name. I think he was
Jelly Van Damme.
no. He got hurt. Oh, Van Anholt, Van Holt, whatever.
Hmm.
He
He
was
had
like
one game and then got hurt, right?
they had a few games, and he looked promising, and then he tears his ACL with it. Man, we had Yossi Zardes playing defense for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how interesting this search for a proper defense has been. And even now, it's kind of like it's interesting, right? We find Jalen. He doesn't really develop up to what we want him to be, at least not fast enough. So that doesn't work out. We get Zabaleta, as a veteran, right? And you've seen how that's gone. Pipo Gonzalez, thank you, Willis. Oh, that's a good one. We had Pipo Gonzalez as a defender too.
Oh, I remember him.
It's just, oh my god, who does our scouting for defenders? And even like, I mean, yeah, we love Yoshida, but even he's like, out, on his way out, hasn't won, had never won a domestic title. We've had Rolf Felcher, we've had Casares. It's damn. Somebody said we had Tommy Meyer. You know what?
We did have him
Tommy
at one point.
Tommy Meyer didn't Tommy Meyer. Is he the one that started that MLS Cup that we won?
Remember in 2011, you mean?
Was it? Was I think somebody gets hurt? I think Leonardo. No, was it Leonardo was their defender? Who the hell was their defender?
It might have been. It might have been 2011. Yeah,
Whatever.
because
Whatever.
I was surprised by the way that my memory of MLS Cup 2011 is really hazy. Because I remember you started bringing up some names from that roster, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy did play with us, and I completely forgotten about it because I was at that game and I had such a good time, but there's some things about it. It just goes to show how long ago it actually was. It's 14 years ago now. MLS Cup 2011. But
That
yeah,
was.
we digress too much. As far as the game is concerned, yeah. But it was a nice crowd. It wasn't like the stadium wasn't completely packed. But the people that were there were very energetic, and I noticed that that energy kept building and building as the game progressed. Obviously, a lot had to do with what was going on in the field, but um, I just felt that it was a good energy in the crowd, and of course, I had my son with me, and he was having a really good time. He's a little older now. He had been to 5 games before, all of them wins, by the way. Um, and so, but he was younger. He wasn't really paying attention. He was just looking around. I remember, like in the past, we just stare up at the overhang and just be like, "Wow, look at that!" And then he would see the airplanes flying by. But this time, he was really engaged and he was watching the game. And he really loves Cosmo. He had like a little Cosmo pillow that we had got him, and so he was hugging the Cosmo pillow and he kept pointing him out. And then both times the team scored, he just celebrated. And I was like, "That's pretty cool," right? So that was fun to watch. But um, I remember like I kept thinking, they gotta score at some point, and I kept seeing that Mateos Nascimento kept getting some good looks. And you know what was the thing that ran through my mind? I was going to tell you, Eddie, was what a difference it makes to have a speedy forward who knows what he's doing and has a level of intent. Like he's not just trying to get up there to as a big body, which we see with Miguel Berry, right? He's not just trying to chug up there and catch up to his teammates and then see what he can do once they're already trapped in the corners. This is a guy who actually spearheads the offense and has the legs to actually go in there and disrupt the defense and give his teammates time to set up and come in and get into scoring positions. And what a difference it is, right? With
Yeah,
Nascimento.
yeah.
And Eddie, I know we're gonna answer this later on, but why can't we see more of this earlier?
We can talk a little bit about it right now because it's
Let's
it's
go.
it's important because and it's frustrating, right? Somebody, I think it was Guti, sitting next to it, tells me I told him like, "Yeah, I'm frustrated the fact that this kid is actually good because how many times have I sat here and said he's got to be a bust, right? And then Guti tried to use the Garces comparison, but like no, it's different. We were still winning and putting up results, right? So we were able to ease in Garces, right? We just wanted to see him. There was times we were winning the game and we're like, oh, bring in Garces so we can see him. But this is a team that has been thirsting for creativity in the offensive end, starving for goals. And you're telling me we've been starting Christian Ramirez, but we've been also giving Miguel Berry time over this kid. To me, that blows my mind. That is super frustrating. The kid looks confident. The kid hasn't seen the field, right? It's only 2 starts, and he already looks more confident than the other 2 strikers. And we can only assume he's just going to get better as he gets more confident, more comfortable with his team. So it's kind of frustrating, right? I think of like, what is Vanny doing there? What is he thinking? Is he have like this? Again, I'm just talking out of my ass trying to figure it out. But does he have like favoritism? Does he have like buddies? Like, oh man, I brought you Christian Ramirez. You signed for us at a lower price, so I guaranteed you that time, so I'm gonna hook you up. I don't know. It's just weird. I think you're muted, Edgar.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Another thing that I really enjoy, not just watching Nascimento, but also the fact that him and Sanabria are starting to develop a good synergy. Um, and because we've been watching Sanabria get better and better every week, it seems like he's gaining more confidence. And it's so hard to do, right? In a losing cause, right? Like, yeah, I mean, you always hear those quotations about how losing builds character, how you learn so much from losing. Well, at this point, give these guys like a PhD in losing, man, because they've lost so they record setting loss, right? Um, but that it is true. Like when you lose, you either fall into that funk, right? And you just get stuck there and mired there, or you could try to learn from it so that way when you come out of it, you're stronger than anybody because you've been through it and you know what to expect and what not to do, right? And then eventually things are going to start improving, hopefully in the long run. And I feel like these young kids, this is a lost season. Just put them out there. Build some of that momentum with them, so that they have that synergy. So by the time you get into a tournament, at this point, the only thing that this team has left to win is probably League's Cup, a tournament that I really don't like. But hey, it's what we the cards that we've been handed. Put these guys out there and see what they can do, what kind of damage they can do in that tournament. It's worth a shot. But at this point, put them out there, have as much fun as possible. And with Nascimento, in his case, his loan is up at the end of the year. I checked it, by the way. His loan lasts until December 31st, 2025. So put him out there. Just let him run. He's young. He can run. He can probably run 3 games in a week. And no issues. And let's see what he can do. Eventually, He's gonna start catching the attention of some other teams around the league, and then be like, hey, look, um, he might not be as spectacular as somebody like a Gabriel Peck, but once he starts chugging along, he's going to get some attention, and that's going to free up Peck and Pinto also.
All right,
Oh yeah,
Edgar.
and yeah, El Habra Sports Fan says it's also like the Campeones Cup, right? And let's hope that whoever Galaxy has to face in that, it's a lot better than what Vancouver did today.
All right, Edgar. We do have a super chat. I was going crazy over here trying to figure out how to do the whole, you
I can
know,
do it. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo,
the,
doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo,
there you go. Let me bring that up though. And if you want to handle that super chat, go for it.
doo-doo-doo. Here we go. Adam, thank you so much for that $5 super chat. Yes, was last night's win surprising? Although RSL is winless in May. I think any win is surprising with this team at this point.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's the cynic in me speaking, right? I can be kind of cynical, and I could say, of course it's surprising, because they've lost so many games that they should have won. But when you step back as a neutral and you step back and you look at it, you're like, yeah, this is a game that they should have won. Um, so it wasn't that surprising when you and I think back to last night. Like I said, I've said many times, I'm in this MLS chat on Twitter with a bunch of other podcasters around the league, and I actually posted on there like early on. I said, "Wow, this RSL team looks really bad. Uh, they look lost." And somebody on there said, "Damn it, Edgar, you jinxed the team." And I said, at this point, getting jinxed, is probably a blessing. So, um, yeah, Willis. But yeah, it is surprising in the fact that they were able to actually stop or limit the amount of damage that RSL could have done to them. Because let's put it this way, it was a clean sheet, but it wasn't because Galaxy limited RSL from doing much. It's just RSL just wasn't able to complete their opportunities.
RSL had a Galaxy type night.
Yeah, they did absolutely.
Well, let's get to some positive, right? Let's keep going on the Nascimento train, and the confidence he had. We got to talk about the confidence of doing that little, what would you call it, step over inside the box. Johnny
Oh yeah.
Nelson plays him that through ball, and he does that nice little step over, and then he unselfish, unselfishly plays a nice ball for the easy tap into Lucas Sanabria, who gets deservingly his first goal. Another guy that the last couple games has been stepping up, and man, what a beautiful goal! What a what a team goal that we haven't seen all season.
No, absolutely. And it was not only that, but it was nice to see Nascimento get something on the score sheet, right? Because obviously he got the assist, a goal scoring opportunity, right? Earlier in that half, he also had an opportunity where he got loose. He came in from into the 18 and he took a shot that the goalkeeper from RSL had to make a pretty good save on. Cabral, that's his name. Funny. But that nice play, that nice combination that he had with Sanabria, that was so much fun to watch because you could tell how much it meant to these guys. Um, in the game against San Jose, uh, there was that play where Nascimento got loose and he scored a goal. And in the stadium, right, I actually thought that's horrible, right? He wasn't offside. Somebody told me, "Hey, when you go home, look at the highlights, and it'll change your mind." I got home, looked at it, I was like, "Oh, he was offside." But I so wanted Nascimento to get that goal. But seeing him contribute in this fashion is also just as fun because you could tell how much it meant to him and to Sanabria and to the rest of the team. Um, so he scores, right? Sanabria scores. We're all celebrating, and now you're thinking to yourself, okay, how is RSL going to tie the game? Because that's what was on my mind.
Oh
And
yeah,
how soon are they going to do it?
yeah. We've been here before, right? All season, so that's all I think everyone can think of. Like, how is this gonna go down? How are we gonna blow this? And I think after that, I mean, if my memory serves me correctly, besides a peck opportunity, Salt Lake was putting the pressure on us. As a matter of fact, Salt Lake hits the pole before the half. And then that's something that you'll see on the stat sheets, which we'll get to later, as not a shot on target. So that doesn't even count the 20 shots that RSL took on us. So, like you mentioned earlier, RSL had his chances. They just couldn't capitalize on any of them. And yeah, even in the first half, after we scored, uh, they almost we almost found a way to blow that lead out like we have in the last three, was it 3 games in a row now? Well, actually, the last game we didn't score, but yeah.
Yeah. No, they've been before the San Jose game. Galaxy had taken leads in consecutive matches, I think, or three matches in a row, and they have blown all those times. So at this point, you're like, okay, we've seen Galaxy losing games where they haven't allowed a goal. I mean, they haven't allowed a shot on goal. We've seen them get blown out. We've seen them go up and then up 2 goals and lose. And it, in some of those cases, against teams that are on paper look worse than the LA Galaxy. But RSL, man, like I said, they had those opportunities, and for one reason or other, they just cannot put it into the back of the net. And yeah, I was gonna say Mikovic was doing his part to stymie that RSL offense, but at the same time, you got to give a little bit of credit also to like the midfield CDMs and to the Galaxy defense because they were trying their best to keep Diego Luna from doing anything else, and that dude was running in there, cutting, trying to do everything, and you could tell he was starting to get more and more frustrated as the game was wearing on. Um, but then we get to the half, Eddie, and what's going through your mind? Because at this point, my wife's like, "I'm hungry." Like let's go, let's go get some food, right? I'm like, all right. So
What's
she wanted some plátanos fritos, and I think she went to the pupusas, right, to get some pupusas and plátano frito, and I'm like, all right.
wait,
So
that's plátano frito?
yeah, they sell plátano frito there. So
Really?
um, so
I don't,
she went. I took my son and I was walking around and I ran into some people and they were all happy, like, hey, look at the little guy. Ezra got to meet Josh, and he had his daughter there, so that was funny. He was like, "Hey, bring your kid to work day, right, or
mm.
to the stadium." All the kid power must have really helped this team that night.
Did
Um,
you did you introduce Ezra to Josh and we're like, here, this is what a real podcast it looks like.
oh wow, that was thanks Eddie. That's funny. Yeah. No, I told him, hey, this is my buddy Josh, and he's like, hi, and Josh was really nice. He gave him a high five, and Ezra was like really having a good time. He introduced him to his little Cosmo pillow, but that's when I told Josh, like, hopefully, they look better, right? And I also ran into Rob Halon and our buddy Ananda, right? They were there, and Ananda looked at me. He's like, "I feel it, Edgar. I feel it. This is
Yeah.
it. This is it. We're gonna win." And I was like, "Don't give me hope, damn it!" But I feel it too. Um, so that was that sense, and you go back to your seats. But something funny happened. I didn't know about it until people started posting it on social media. But Apparently, right before the half started, there was a person who ran onto the field,
No,
a
that
pitch
was late.
invader.
That was later in the game.
Was that late? Was that later? I thought it was
Yeah,
a. Then I must have missed that completely. When
yeah.
was that?
It was right after the second goal, and I'll share it with you later.
Oh, I okay, okay.
Uh, no, but
My,
yeah.
my bad, my bad. Because I was like, why did I miss it? And I think about it. I was holding my son. He was on my
So
lap. So
no, definitely was different. I guess I have a new superstition too. It's My superstition was to change shoes. I don't know why I came up with that. I've mentioned that before.
what?
Until they win, like every game, like
Uh
yeah,
huh.
because I did like some spring cleaning. Well, I guess we'll call it winter cleaning or something. And I figured I come to find out that I have more pair of shoes than there are games in an MLS season. So I was like, before it went this bad, I was like, I'm gonna keep changing my pair of shoes until they win a game. 16 games in, I got tired of it. I ended up repeating the shoes already, but I, like I said, I was at my friend's baby shower, which is in Upland, and it was 100 degrees out there. So I made the drive back, and then I figured, oh, it's hot, so I'm gonna leave my jacket in the car. Big mistake. I was freezing, dude. I was freezing at the game. Uh, then I had the bright idea of, you know what, fight fire with fire. So I got ice cream at halftime. Uh, Also, shout out to Guti. What a jerk. He didn't want to lend me his jacket. That fool was literally in a t shirt and shorts. And he didn't want to lend me his jacket. He wasn't wearing it. Not that I was taking it off his back. So we know. But yeah, I guess my new superstition is be cold. Get ice cream.
Yeah, no, that was some weird. That was some weird weather because when we left our house, like I said, I live out here towards the very eastern edge of LA County. Um, it was 94 degrees, man. It was warm and humid. So we left, and by the time we got to the stadium, it was still kind of warm. But in that hour between they opened the gates and then they started getting ready for the game, the temperature must have dropped like 10 degrees or something like that because it got windy and it got cold. And I saw people start putting on sweaters. And like I said, my son said he was cold, so he put on his sweater. Um, by the time we left the stadium, though, it was it was a little chilly. But I guess there was something different in the air last night, right? Uh, I don't know if it was like some kind of brujeria. I don't know. It had something to do with that goat that you. I'm sorry, I don't want to bring it up again.
the
But
one
that
that the one that Efra sent me.
yeah, the one that Efra sent you. Um, damn. But they did it right. And that second half though, it
what
wasn't
if
easy.
what if the feeling was kind of like I don't know. I don't know if I want to describe it as numbness. And to a certain extent, I feel like I I don't want to say I didn't care, but I felt like, oh, if we lose this game, it's just another game, like the way it's been all season. And I think I just had like my guard down, and it was like I in some weird way I was able to enjoy it more that way because I think I have like given up already. So maybe that was the feeling. I don't know if you felt the same way. It's like, well, if it goes bad, it's expected. Like it wasn't going to be disappointing anymore.
No, you're absolutely correct. Um, some of my friends and the podcasters have been asking me, so Edgar, do you feel bad about the team? And I'm like, at this point, I don't care. I was like, I think that the last shred of hope got stomped away 2 matches ago. So at this point, my mindset is like, if they lose, oh well, and if they win, all right, whatever. And they score that second goal. Let's talk about it because uh, Joseph Paintsil is been trying so hard to do something for this team and to make himself relevant again. And I know it's kind of hard to say, like make himself relevant when he is considered such a valuable part of this team. But during this entire run, whenever he's been playing, especially since he came back from injury, he's trying so hard to make things happen. And I know you and I were sitting together during that first half in this San Jose game, and I was pointing to you. I was like, "Look at that! He's trying so hard to make things happen where he gets into a position where all he has to do is lay the ball off, right? Remember, he could have passed it to Nascimento, and instead he does an extra step, or he takes an extra dribble, or he tries something a little bit different. And I think he was overthinking so much that you got to go back to just keep things basic, keep things simple, and then from there you can start branching out and doing other different little things. But at the same time, one thing that we're noticing during this entire run for the LA Galaxy is not only have they not been playing well, they've been very unlucky. And I don't like to believe in luck, that kind of stuff, right? Break break from the wheel of fortuna, right? I always say, don't believe in luck. Right? You make your own luck. But I just feel like they haven't gotten those breaks. And last night in that play that led up to the goal for Painto, the ball just happened to bounce off the Real Salt Lake defender in just in the right spot, so it was still in front of Painto, and he was able to deliver this really nice shot to the far post to make it 2-0. And what a well deserved goal for him, I think.
Yeah, and I hope that that changes our luck around and also changes Painsel's mentality around. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was not the greatest game for Painsel before that goal. I think a lot of the same that he was doing in the San Jose game carried over to this game, where he couldn't make the simple pass, and sometimes he wouldn't make the simple pass. He's like, "Let me try to take on these three players as well." And when he wasn't really that kind of player in the past, he was more of a get behind space and um, just go one on one. Uh, Not really need to do much with the ball. But I mean, maybe that's just maybe that's just my frustration too, seeing it that way. I don't know if anybody in the chat sees it differently, but definitely for me, it's something that I've noticed more in Paintil than anything. A little bit in Peck as well, but I think Peck it's been more a case of the service really hasn't been there for Peck, right? With the places where he's used to getting the ball. But yeah, as far as like Painto is concerned, I'm glad he got that goal. Two things I hope come out of it. One, I hope that that lucky bounce means now our luck is changing, and two, that Painto can feel like, oh, okay, there, I got this off my back. Now I can go ahead and be a team player again.
Finally, some blessings for Pinto, right?
Nice. I see
Yeah.
what you did there.
So more RSL putting some pressure on the LA Galaxy, and this is where I guess we have to mention it. This statistics is concerned, right? Because it didn't really feel like that to me. But when I got home and I looked at the statistics, I was like,
Goodness.
wow, Real Salt Lake had 19 shots. I mean, granted, they weren't all on goal, but the fact that they had 19 shots, um, only 7 of those were off target, um, and that's when you're like, okay, yeah, they got that win, but
There we
the
go.
defense wasn't exactly that good either. RSL just didn't bring it last night. They've been going through like such a rough patch, and I guess at this point of the season, they're in a lot worse shape than LA Galaxy. And LA Galaxy just happened to have the opportunity to bring in some players that are really hungry to turn things around. Oh, and one thing, well, I'll bring it up at the end because it's a nice little chuckle, something funny, but um, there was extra motivation to win this game. You know, like Galaxy, you're like, what? How much more motivation do you need, right? When everything has been so bad the entire season, and but there was a little bit of extra motivation from a club legend,
Oh
and
yes.
I'm guessing that this was on everybody's mind, especially towards the end of the match, where you're like, do everything possible to secure this win. And when you have two teams that are frustrated and hungry to have something good happen for them, right? In this case, RSL, like we said, they're in really bad shape. After this game, they've lost 7 in a row. I mean, or they've gone on 7 winless. Um, there was a scuffle, right? Towards
Oh
right like near
yeah.
the benches.
Uh,
um, and it wasn't something that they were able to like stop right away. I mean, they really got into it. Diego Luna was in there. There was some shoving and pushing, and the fourth official had to get involved, and he was like shoving players back, and it was a while before they finally settled everything down so they could continue with that game. But that was an injury time, wasn't it? I think there was like they had already passed the 90-minute mark. I think there was like 2 minutes. It was like 4 minutes of added time, 2 minutes into injury time, and they got into it. Um, you could see that frustration from Real Salt Lake because I'm sure that the memes were flying right afterwards. Like your team lost to your poverty team lost to the other Galaxy. Yeah, baby, we suck, but we still beat you. Blah blah blah, and all that.
RSL.
Yeah, we can't spell ourselves at a big L.
Look at us. We win one game and we forget how to act.
Hey, what the hell? Um, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. When you have like these dust ups, and I wonder, in the past, the game against Red Bull, we were very lucky that some players did not get cited or suspended or fined by the league. But MLS's disciplinary committee is a weird thing. Disco, is weird music, and so is MLS's disco. And I would not be surprised if come Monday or Tuesday we hear like, oh, so and so is fine, they're suspended for the next match, and you're like, it's exactly what we need, right? But obviously they don't play it for another 2 weeks, so
We
gonna
do
have
got
to sit
to.
on that one.
We already know of a suspended player. If you guys aren't aware, Edwin Cerrillo will actually be missing the next game again for yellow card accumulation.
Hmm.
Which I think with time and experience, those numbers will go down. That position does ask you to be physical a lot of the time, but Surio's a great player, and I think he'll get it down after a while. And I'm not totally mad at it. Totally mad at it as much as we need him on the field now. But where was that
Give a super
here?
chat.
Yeah, that's on it. You ready? You got your sound effects ready, Edgar?
Oh my goodness.
Here, wait. I
Oh
got
my goodness.
I got smoke. I can do smoke. Hold on.
All right.
There you go. Look at
Adam with the $10 super chat. He asks, is there something Galaxy can do to win in St. Louis since they have never won there? St. Louis just got rid of their third coach in their short history in MLS, but they just won against San Jose on Saturday. So, um, well, folks, the short answer is no. Galaxy's gonna lose that game, and I'll tell you right now.
wow.
I'll tell you why right now.
Go for it.
It's a game in St. Louis in the middle of June at 1:30 p.m.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a 1:30 p.m. Start for us. For them, it's 3:30, and I'm just telling you that these afternoons in the spring in the Midwest are just disgusting. I lived in Kansas for a while, and oh my god, there's a time in the day where you're not supposed to be outside because you feel like you're gonna just melt into the pavement. And this is exactly when this game is gonna kick off, and it's in St. Louis, and we I don't know why the hell they keep scheduling. It's every year they seem to schedule that game at the same time, in the middle of the day with the LA Galaxy. Like, why are you doing that? I mean, it's already on the road against St. Louis, but then again, you look at the table. Where is St. Louis right now?
Yeah, they're the closest one to us.
Yeah, they just happen to be like falling as well. So as far as St. Louis is concerned, we're definitely gonna have my boy Big Bird Matt Baker come back on the show to preview that game. But also something I mentioned in the last midweek show, Eddie, is like I'm trying to put together a group of podcasters from the teams that are like at the very bottom of MLS. I'm calling it the Wooden Spoon Collective, and Matt Baker, our buddy Matt, he definitely said he's in. So we're gonna have a nice little chat there with some of the bottom dwellers and talk about how miserable we all are and just sharing our misery and have a good time. Maybe Mo could be our bartender that day, and he could all kick us out of Mo's Tavern afterwards.
Wouldn't you know it?
I see what you did there. Wouldn't you know?
All right, Edgar. Is there anything else from this game you want to mention before we get some awards and move on to the questions?
Couple things. I saw that it was really nice to see in V Block the people unfurl all the different colors that the ribbons. It was like these large ribbons that they unfurled from the bottom of V Block to the top. Obviously, arranged in the colors of the LGBTQ plus flag. I thought that was really nice. Um, it was kind of surprising to me that LA Galaxy kind of sort of had Pride Night on Wednesday, but didn't really like promote it. They had the Pride Night warm ups. I mean, the warm up tops on Wednesday, but there wasn't really that same sense of celebration or attention that this event has gotten in the past. And then comes Saturday, it was Star Wars night, which Star Wars is something that you could celebrate any other game of the year, right? They could have had it now, they could have had it like in August, September, whatever, but they just happen to have it on this particular day. And my thinking is, why can't you just make it Pride Night, man? Um, I mean, June is officially now Pride Month, I guess, but who cares? May 31st, just go ahead and do it. But whatever. It was just nice to see V Block do that though. So shout out to them. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Obviously, my son had a great time. He was celebrating. He was happy. I noticed that when the game finally ended, and I was curious to see how they were going to celebrate on the field. Right, man, everybody celebrated like they just won the Western Conference Championship. I'm not going to say MLS Cup because that's a whole different animal. But I kind of got that same vibe. We're like, yes, we
That's
won.
that's so funny, dude. Because my reaction when they won was just sit down and like just like so I exhaled literally, and it was almost like as soon as like I was standing for like towards the end of the game, and it almost as soon as my butt hit the seat, the stadium erupted. I was like, dude, people like lost their mind. Like they all they had that built up energy they needed to release. It was it was loud. Yeah, you're right. Maybe not MLS Cup loud, but it was
No,
definitely loud.
yeah, it definitely got loud. And only I noticed too. By the way, I was also sitting there because, like I said, my son was there and he was happy. He was jumping up and down and yeah, going yay! And I was like, you did it, man! Every time you show up, they win." He's like, "Yay!" He was all happy. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, my God, they're playing "This Is LA" by the Briggs, and I haven't heard it play that loud ever. I mean, that thing was loud. It was blaring. I was like, okay, take it easy, guys. Take it easy. Um, but good for them, man. And oh, wait a minute. We won again. So what does that mean?
Oh
What
damn!
was
No,
that?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, man. Somebody just paid us a visit. Somebody who hasn't paid us a visit in quite a while, and I'm a little scared now. I think when the moment I leave the building, somebody's gonna jump me in the parking lot.
He's gonna be waiting for you outside.
Oh no. Um, Anybody just listening to this audio, this our good buddy Cholo. There he is again. Oh no, Cholo Deon just showed up to the studio, and he's like creeping up on me little by little. Hey, man, you're taking over the mean streets of Kansas City, but
Hey, and we're back. Dayon Cholo Dayon is back. Other things may be back later, but you have to stay tuned for that.
yeah, but no, what a nice way to cap off a really nice night. Because like I said, a lot of people at this point are like, yeah, the season's a wash. Let's go out to the stadium and have a good time, right? With friends and family. Enjoy the weather because the weather was kind of nut, but in the end, it was still a nice California afternoon. And afterwards, you go to I went to supporters areas, ACV and Lars areas, and everybody was so jovial and so happy. Um, and everybody was coming up and high fiving you. And look at that, we have footage of Greg Vanny after the game. He went on the field and started cutting a rug. Look at him. Look at that.
Look at him go.
Look at him go, man. It's been a while. Good for you, Greg. But yeah, Eddie, tell us. There was a Galaxy legend was trying to motivate this team to win. Of course, we're talking about Don Raul. Did you see that video, by the way?
Yeah, I did. The guy cursed at him. You can't disrespect the legend, man. That guy's gonna misspell your name on purpose if if you don't do right. No, it was cool to see. I wonder how that went down though. As I was watching that, I wonder if Don Raul was like, I want to say something. He's been there, for 30 years, so he's never seen this, right? He probably sees something different in the locker room, and he probably was like, let me talk to these boys. So it was nice to see. I wonder if that's ever been a thing. Your kit man is literally out here, motivating your guys, and it worked. So I guess gotta forget my jacket. Don't know who's gotta motivate the guys every game. It's set, Edgar.
Yeah. We have another super chat, by the way.
Oh, let me bring that up real quick, and you can
Yeah, yeah,
handle.
yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? There it is. There you go, Mr. Edgar.
Ba, 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 ba. Adam, $5 super chat asks, why are the Galaxy games in St. Louis during the day on Fox? Is it because they're a new kind of a team in the league? Is that what MLS wants this every year? I don't know. For some reason, LA Galaxy always gets punished, I guess, with these weird games and that are whoa, hey, Dayon, take it easy. Yeah, I was gonna say the Midwest, man. Galaxy always has these. They always get these really strange games that are played like early in the morning or like in the middle of the afternoon. Um, Usually in the Midwest. Hey, Cholo Dayon is he's mean mugging us over here. But yeah, no, it does bug me because whenever the Galaxy goes to the East Coast or the Midwest, they always have to have these weird start times, and obviously, Galaxy cannot deal well with these early start times. We've seen it historically; they're not that. They whoa, man, he's like a Pokemon. He's flying across the screen there. But yeah, any thoughts on that, Eddie?
I don't know. You know what? Just off the top of my head, uh, is that Father's Day weekend?
The 14th. I don't know. Isn't Father's Day usually the 20th?
I just wonder if that has anything to do with it. Like, oh,
Let
this is
me
like a time
check.
where people are going to be home,
It
so
is. You're
so
right. Sunday, June 15th.
we're still quote unquote like the big pool, because we have
Yeah.
international fans and everything, and fans all over the country. So that could be it, which is unfair to us. Also, I don't know how much influence the home team has, right? If they're aware with uh, the Galaxy not being very good at playing during the day, that could be a factor too. But uh, I think that's another reason we hate those schedules, right? Because somebody's got to do a spreadsheet and draw up these numbers for us. Because I want to say, just looking back, I don't have too many memories of day games going our way, unless it's
No.
MLS Cup.
Yeah, MLS Cup is a whole
Yeah,
different thing. But yeah, we're gonna have like I said, Matt Baker from Flyover Footy to preview the match against St. Louis the week before that match, and we could probably ask him the same question and see what he says. Maybe he has a whoa, Dayon, get away from my thigh, man. He's sitting on my leg now. We can ask our buddy Matt Baker what he thinks. He might have a different insight on it. He might actually have some inside information he could give us as far as that's concerned, and then we'll be able to answer that question more in full there for you, Adam. But thank you so much.
yeah. No, it's interesting though, because yeah, I don't see the benefit of as far as viewership goes, and even going to games, right? In that time of the year, it sucks. It sucks. Uh, I myself prefer the weekend night games when they're at home or they're away. So I guess we're gonna have to make some calls, Edgar. Your buddy Matt Baker is gonna give us some answers.
Hey Eddie, I have a question for you. You
What's up?
know, the font has that Stranger Things kind of vibe to it.
Uh-huh.
Why is Dayon looking like 11 there in the corner?
11? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, he's got that 11 buzz cut. I don't know, man.
They did release the trailer yesterday. Was it yesterday? To season five?
I'm just saying, dude. Maybe Dayon
You're a
has
fool.
something to do with all that.
All right, let's give out some awards. Let's
Award that actually matter this time.
you want to start with? Well, I guess we usually start with the bad, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Geo Award. Do you have one in mind already? Actually, you know what? I'll go. I don't know if this is bold. I don't know if this is bold, but I'll go with my Geo. Actually, nah, never mind. It's not that bold. I'll just go with the regular one. I feel like I'll be nitpicking if that's the case, but I think the one we would have to give the Geo award to here is Fagundes. I don't feel like we see the same Fagundes. Maybe because it's new partners in the middle. But I remember when he played in that role last year when Ricky was absent, it was definitely a way better performance, way more influential in the game. That's actually how Gabriel Peck got himself going, was when Fagundes was playing that in that role. So I, I don't know. Fagundes was just non-factor, nor good nor bad, but definitely no good. And that's a very important position to be in. It's not the one where if we don't mention you, it's a good thing. It's not a good thing if we don't mention you.
No, you're right. It's definitely something that we haven't seen the same Diego Fagundes from last year, right? Obviously, there's been some absences in the midfield, but uh, against bad teams, right? It's like he seems to play to the level of these bad teams, and we don't see the same kind of performance that we've seen from him against stronger opponents. It's like he seems to play better against the teams that they think are better, like LAFC. But then you play these bad teams like Sporting Kansas City and um, I was gonna say San Jose and now RSL, and it's like, man, come on, man, do something. But I'm not too particular. I'm particularly perturbed with what he did yesterday, but he could be doing better. And Dayon is hiding behind my seat now, right? He's behind
I
me.
don't know. I don't know where he went.
He's kind of creeping up on me. How
So,
come he goes after me? He doesn't go after you.
oh no, no, Green Day on are cool, man. You're the one that makes fun of the Midwest and all that. So,
I
it's,
live there.
so are
Anything
you?
else for
But
you?
are you agree? No, that was
Oh
my
yeah,
Geo one.
the Fagundes. Yeah,
So
I
are you
agree.
agreeing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully, it's just them getting used to the midfield trio. Which in the next game, if Royce isn't back, it's going to be yet again a different trio because no Surreal, and also we also don't know what happened. You know what? That's something we missed. We failed to mention. The Sanabria was subbed out at halftime.
Yeah, he got hurt. That's what I kept hearing.
Oh, okay. I figured, a guy that was playing like that uh, and doing better, like, you wouldn't want to pull him. So I'm I'm not sure if he's going to be back in the next game. We don't know what kind of injury he had either. So it's going to be interesting to see what the middle's going to look like next game. But yeah, I guess for this one it will be Fagundes. Hopefully, whoever he partners up with next, it works out better because we're gonna need him if there is any kind of hope. So you got Hartman. You want to take this one, Edgar?
Oh my god, there's so many people.
Yeah,
I could give this to.
I have like one A and one B. I
Yeah, same here. I'm trying to. I mean, even for next standing, I'm like, who gets it? You know, I'll take the East route. I'm gonna say you got Hartman. I'm gonna say Joseph Paintsil. Uh, because he's been playing with so much heart. Obviously, a lot of times, there's ways when you play right where you play with your heart and not necessarily your head, right? Because you're not really thinking well, but you're just trying really hard. You have all your heart into it, and I just feel like he's been putting so much effort into trying to alleviate things for the team that it's nice to see him finally get his head back into the game and score a nice goal and do something for the team. So now he can get that monkey off his back and just focus on being the same productive Joseph Painter that we've seen. Sorry, it's just that Dayon is kind of distracting. It's
So
funny.
he has his mind of its own, dude. I can't control him. Well, actually, I don't really have Painto up there. I For me, it's 1A, 1B. So my next standing and my You Got Heartman, right? To me, they're 1A, 1B. Like it's hard to decide for me, but You Got Heartman, and maybe because he didn't play the full game, it's gonna go to Nacimiento. Nacimiento is You Got Heart. That's another complaint I have. You mentioned earlier how he's young and he can, you know, his young legs can take 43 games in 1 week or whatever you said. And the kid is
Yeah.
finding his game, and it kind of sucks to not see him go the full 90, and especially for Ramirez, who I've been on here backing and on chats backing up and come in the game and disappear. The offense just kind of in a situation like that too. You need somebody to keep their defense on their toes, and Ramirez did the opposite. You know, Ramirez came in and the defense was able to relax more. So You Got Heartman is giving me Nacimiento. I hope I hope going forward we get to give him the big award. But again, it's 1A, 1B, so he kind of did get the next standing. And Edgar, before you answer that, you just want to address the next super chat.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, the next Adam. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. All of that dogs barking. Woo, 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 woo. Um, the next home game is the 4th of July versus Vancouver. So we're gonna have the runners up to the CONCACAF Champions Cup come in to town on the 4th of July and Independence Day. And I know that's still like more than a month away, but damn, that's a tough match to have at home. That's the next home game. But it should be a fun crowd, and the way that Vancouver has been playing, wouldn't be surprised if they bring a nice crowd to that game.
Damn.
Um,
Can
so
you think about how crazy that game can be? You string together a couple wins. We haven't been home for a while at that point. It's on a Friday night. That could get pretty crazy.
yeah, actually, I'm looking at the schedule right now. The next three Galaxy matches, obviously all on the road, no home games at all throughout June. Oh, kind of sad because I always look forward to the Juneteenth celebrations at the stadium. We won't get that, this season. But Galaxy has game in St. Louis, which is, I guess, it's winnable, right? But like we said, it's a day game. Then they have the game on Wednesday, June 25th. That's in Colorado, a game which 90% sure I'll be there.
Nice.
And then Saturday, June 28th, they go up to play against San Jose. I'm not sure if they're going to play that one at PayPal Park or at Stanford Stadium, which they've done in the past. But either way, yeah, they got that rematch against the Quakes. Um, the Quakes are a beatable team. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if LA Galaxy, a rejuvenated LA Galaxy, can get some points on the road. Um, in this weird season, I don't know. They probably could. Uh, and then come back home against probably the best team in MLS this season, aside from Philly, Vancouver Whitecaps. So that'll be
Well,
interesting to
we'll
see.
also see how they react after that loss. It could be demoralizing. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Vancouver, their next match, I'm looking at they're playing against. Wow, they gotta run the gauntlet, man. This is who Vancouver has in the month of June. They play Seattle next. It's Cascadia Cup. Then they have to travel to Columbus. And then they come back home to play against San Diego. And then on the road to LAFC before finally they play against LA Galaxy. So maybe all those teams can rough them up a little for us, so that by the time they play against the Galaxy, they're going to be really tired, and hey, Galaxy can take the little flip tops and throw them around a
Oh,
little.
oh my
I'm not your
god.
buddy, guy.
I'm not your guy, friend. So your heartband word.
Oh, already said.
Did you? Who'd you go with?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, the Heartman. I said Joseph Paintsil.
Oh, that's right. That's right. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
but next inning, let's show the trophy.
See, we spare no expense
Next
here at News Across the Galaxy.
standing. And I know he didn't play the full 90. And I know you said, "Oh, I'm gonna wait until I give it to him," but I have to give it to Mateo Nascimento.
I know, but hey, before you go, I said 1A, 1B. Again, he to me, he's also next standing. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I feel like he's made a big difference in his last two starts. um that that's just that different energy he has up top. It's so important to have that because everybody's been everybody has gotten so used to having the slow guys and Miguel Berry and Marquis Ramirez up top, and suddenly you have a guy who brings like that different kind of energy, that hunger, and he's trying different things up there. He's not just waiting for service; he's actually creating the attack and spearheading it, like I said, and you saw how that works. And if LA Galaxy gets used to that and they get him the ball more, and especially once you understand what he wants, right, and how he wants it, it's going to be so much more important for this team. And he's still young; he's going to get better. You could tell this guy is learning; he's getting better, and we've seen him take shots from outside the box. At some point, he's going to nail one of those, and that's just going to build his confidence. And then all of a sudden, it's not just him being able to have that fancy footwork inside the box. He's going to be a threat from the outside as well. So it's nice. We're watching him develop right now. Hopefully, this summer is good for him. So by the time fall rolls around, we have a more well-rounded player, and LA Galaxy will have to make that difficult decision of like, hey, should we buy this guy outright? Is he going to be part of our long-term plans for 2026? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully there's enough time now to make that decision, and for him to want to stay if we want him. But for me, next standing is gonna be Mikovic, uh, because that moment is early. That big save is early in the game, and without him, again, it's a different conversation. But I say 1A, 1B because it doesn't happen in either end without one or the other, right? One doesn't create the chances to score, the other one doesn't stop the other team from scoring. So Mikovic definitely, for now, is the better of our situation, and he might, if we're correct in what we believe in McCarthy having higher trade value and they're shopping him around, this could be our number one keeper going forward. And um, I'm okay with it because again, we did it with the mediocre keeper last season, and I don't think it's getting any worse with him. I've yet to be seen if it's getting any better with Mikovic, but at least for this game, he was next standing, and without him, without him in the pole, right? I should give the pole, the upright, some credit too because they actually hit the pole twice, which I forgot to mention. The second half, they also
I
were
think it
able
was
to
like,
hit that one.
wasn't it like three times went off
No,
the post?
no, San Jose almost scored a banger. Ian Harkes, I don't forget because I was like, who the hell shot that from
Yeah.
far in the last game? But yeah, Mikovic for me, next standing 1A and 1B. We got a couple questions, Edgar, before we get going here.
Yes, sir.
So Spenny on Instagram asked, "Sup with the odds 2024 MVP Gabriel Peck? Three of you voted for him over Puig. I don't know what's going on with him. On a
Wait, what
good
was the
day,
question? I'm sorry.
what's going on with your 2024 MVP Gabriel Peck? Three of you voted for him over Puig.
Oh, I just like I said, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that LA Galaxy has had Miguel Berry and Christian Ramirez up top for so long,
Yeah,
and I've seen it many times. I've said it already in the midweek show where um, people are asking what's going on, right? And it's like, well, you have Pinto and Pack, that either run up the wings and are asking for service. Either they're not getting it, or when they finally do, they're holding on to the ball, and usually there's like a forward or a false nine that comes in, right, and is waiting for a pass or waiting for service or waiting for some kind of give and go. And Ramirez is so slow, right? And Miguel Berry is even slower that by the time like Peck or Pinto are able to try to do something, at that point, two or three defenders already pounced on them. Yes, Stitch. That's how I feel, man. So at that point, they're corralled, and there's nothing you could do about it. And you could see that That's one of the things that's been bugging Pack. And it's frustrating because we're used to having a faster forward. I know Dayon wasn't exactly the fastest dude, but at least he was able to get up there quicker than Ramirez and Barry. Now maybe we could start seeing some of that again
But
with
Dejan
Mateos Nascimento.
Dejan would also fight, right? And that's the frustrating part that's
Yeah.
become frustrating with Barry. I mean, not Barry. Well, Barry too, but Ramirez, because Ramirez isn't the smallest guy, and he doesn't fight for balls at all. It feels like, and Nascimento does. And you're right. That opens up space. You know, he makes his presence felt. And I didn't really think about that. Yeah, there's obviously the Ricky Push factor, but then again, Fagundes was feeding Peck last season. But I didn't really put thought into like the forward and how he can open up space. But when you don't have to worry about a Miguel Berry or Christian Ramirez, it makes it easier to give attention to Peck.
Yeah, and there, of course, we've all been noticing the whole season that because Peck isn't getting the kind of service that he likes. He likes it when you float the ball over to him into space, and he can run onto it and get around, cut the corners around defenders. Very rarely we're seeing that anymore. And I feel like a lot of times he feels the need to come all the way down into the midfield, get the ball, and then try to run it and carry it up the field. And that's just not his game. Um, so it's all these things, and that's why whether it's Peck or Paintsville, I'm really happy that one of them got a goal in this game, and I feel like it takes some of that pressure off. Oh,
You said his name.
Dion, I'm so sorry. Say his name and he appears. There. So yeah, that's what I feel, man. Oh, damn, Dion, look at you. Okay, Eddie, let's get out of here before he mugs me,
Okay.
dude.
All right. Another question from RPED Rasa 83. With only two starts, is Mateos the best option up top for us? Would you guys bring him back? One, yes, he is the best option for us right now. When we bring him back, we got to see if this continues, right?
Yeah, man. When you're like dying of thirst in the middle of the desert, and you see like a little Capri Sun boxer, and you're gonna drink it, right? Even if it's not sparkling mineral water, it's something. That's the way I see it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'd probably even drink Arrowhead. That's gross.
yeah.
All right. We got Messi underscore dangerous. What do you guys feel about Surreal yellow card? Should he do better? I kind of touched on it a little bit. I think that will come with time. Right, that position does demand a lot of physicality. So, I mean, it's gonna happen. It sucks that it's happened twice in one season in the first half of the season. But I hope and I do believe with time that'll get better. You feel any different, Edgar?
Wasn't that yellow card like something that sparked that argument? That or am I thinking something else?
Is that where it happened? I don't
Because
remember
it
what
was
happened.
it was a, it was an injury time.
Okay, that sucks. I don't remember
Yeah,
when it happened. To be honest, I just know it did.
yeah. I know somebody got carded from that scuffle because there's no way, people didn't get carded for that. By the way, the ref. I want to bring up the ref real quick. That referee we had, Ken, you're gonna laugh, Eddie, because right, the ref report, right? But going into the game, I was like, okay, let's talk about this ref, right, real quick. His name is Rubiel Vasquez. So every time that he's refereed an LA Galaxy game at home, they've never lost. Every time he's refereed a game for RSL when they're on the road, they've always lost. So it just the stars aligned. We play against a bad RSL team with a referee that's very kind to the LA Galaxy, and it happened. They won. They won, Eddie. The Galaxy won.
Yeah,
Look at that.
it's a miracle. And to finish it off, Logan Jones says we finally won on a promotion night. The force was definitely with us.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun too. By the way, the beginning they had that little like Star Wars crawl there, and they had the little
Hey,
fight between the two little Legos.
oh yeah, yeah. That was, no, and in the middle of the lightsaber battle halftime. Did you see that?
Nah, I was walking around. I didn't see that.
But by the way, next year the Nag Boys can't be too cool for school. We got to partake. We got to do something. We got to Star Wars it up a little bit.
Yeah,
We're
I have
all
three lightsabers.
we're all. I don't think they let you take a lifesaver. I think you're gonna beat the shit out of somebody inside. But no, I mean we're all actually Star Wars fans. I think, right? Everyone
Yeah,
here. I think so. So it's kind of funny that we never partake. I mean, maybe
I
they just
mean,
don't.
I named my son after a Star Wars character,
Did you?
Ezra Bridger.
Oh my god. You're more Star Wars nerd than I am. I'm sorry. I recently got started watch Dune, so I'm with the young crowd now.
Dune is awesome, dude.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to bring up. This will be the last thing, and then we'll call it a night. Thank you everyone for being on with us this late. This is definitely
Yes,
Nag After Dark. By the way, in 24 minutes it will be Edgar's birthday, so make sure to give Edgar a birthday shout out. The
thank you.
Galaxy already got him a win,
Yes.
and so can I ask you a question, Edgar?
What's up?
Why is Sasha Question such a bitch? What do we do to him?
Oh
Like
my
he,
god!
yeah. So
It's like he decided to go full heel, right?
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because we had hatred for him because he was a Chivas USA, and then he came and he won our hearts, and now he's going back to what the hell? What
did I
the
tell
hell's
you about
he?
the time I met him when he was still a rookie?
Oh, by the way, sorry if you're listening to this in the audio. So basically, Question when said there was no chance this team is done. He said that if the Galaxy make it to the playoffs, he'll shave his head and his mustache.
He said, "If LA make the playoffs, I'll shave my head, dye it blonde, and cut the mustache off." Okay,
There you
let's
go.
do it.
So
But
go
yeah,
ahead.
it's real quick. I do have a story. Like,
Go ahead.
gosh, it must have been 2006, I think. Um, I was uh, I was in Hermosa Beach. My wife and I were there at Hermosa Beach, and we were at the Sharkies down there when it was still like in the old location. And they were sitting there, and I was wearing a Galaxy hat or shirt or something. But at one point, this guy came up to me at our booth, and he's like, "Hey, you're a Galaxy fan, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. I've actually covered the team in the past." And he was like, "Oh, because there's somebody back there that recognizes you." I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "It's Ante Razov." I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah! I remember when he was with the LA Galaxy." So I went to the back and I was like, "What's up, dude?" I was like, "Remember, like you're the first person I ever interviewed." He's like, "Yeah, I remember that." So that was really funny. Some Galaxy trivia for you guys. The first person I ever interviewed was Ante Razov when he was still a rookie with the LA Galaxy in 1997. So we were chit chatting, and at that point, Razov was involved with Chivas USA. And he's all like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to somebody. This is he's a rook. You know, I think he's gonna have a bright career ahead of himself." So I want to introduce you to my buddy here, Sasha Clayston. And I was like, "Hey, what's up, Sasha?" And we shook hands, and I was like, "Hey, man, good, good luck in your career. Hopefully, you have a long, time, and maybe one day we'll see you at the national team." He's like, "Yeah, man, thanks." So we kind of hung around for a beer. I mean, hung around for a little bit. We had a couple beers, and then my wife and I went home. But and it's funny, right? How life works. Good old Sasha. I met him when he was a precocious young guy, and now here he is, on a big national stage talking crap about our team.
He's taking too many notes from Tolman, knowing that it gets him clicks to hate on
Yeah.
our team. I would like to remind you, Sasha is definitely a girl's name.
Uh-oh.
All right, Edgar. It's late night. We're pretty much
Yes.
done here. Uh, Night After Dark was somewhat a success. But you got anything else before we head out?
No, I just want to thank everybody that was so kind to me, to my wife, to my son yesterday. My son was definitely getting a lot of attention from a lot of the ladies, and it was funny
Careful with
because
that one.
yeah, yeah, no, he's very friendly, and he's giving everybody hugs, which I think is amazing. But thank you guys for making it such a memorable night for him. I know that's going to be a good core memory for him because this morning when I was with him, or this afternoon, he kept jumping up and down and doing the LA Galaxy chant and saying how much fun he had and that he wants to go back again sometime. So if the Galaxy goes on another losing streak, he'll definitely be there. And I do
Nice.
expect the Galaxy to win in Colorado because he will be in attendance if I
There
do
you
attend
go.
that
It's
match.
been said. Bet the house. Bet the house. Thank you again to everyone for tuning in this late night. I know it kind of went all over the place, and We just jumped on randomly, and you got me and Edgar, which isn't the worst thing, right? Could be worse. You could have got Willis. Oh, I'm just kidding, because Willis is
Willis
on
and Spenny.
the Willis and Spenny. Ugh. I'm kidding. They're both on the chat. That's why. Much love to you guys. Chewy's out there too. Hey, what's up, Chewy?
Yeah, so
But yeah, so that's pretty much gonna do it for us here at News Across the Galaxy. If you're trying to find me on social media, you can't. So Edgar, where can they find you?
you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Edgar Nags. In case you're wondering, also Blue Sky, by the way. In case you're wondering, my Instagram content is a lot different from what you see on Twitter. I have interviews with people, not just Galaxy fans, but fans from different teams. A lot of times I try to interview fans from visiting teams, which is really interesting. Go and check those out because sometimes there's like really interesting stories, like the one where I interviewed that father and daughter combo, who apparently were there to support the Quakes, but they're actually Rebs fans, which is kind of weird. So check that out on Instagram when you get a chance.
All right. And then we will keep you guys posted with any upcoming shows. I know the Galaxy have a break coming up, so our schedule's kind of up in the air. Edgar's got something set up for the next midweek, which wouldn't be till the next game wouldn't be for another couple weeks. So look out for that. And I think that pretty much does it for us. So for myself, for Edgar, for Cholo Dayan, Edgar, happy birthday, bro! I hope you have an amazing day tomorrow.
Thank you, thank you.
You only turned 63 once, bro.
Only 63 ones, man. I make it look good.
Thank you, everyone. Again, we're gonna get up out of here. Keep on nagging.
Wu Tang for life.
And without further ado,